So I've just got back from work, had a very strange encounter with one of my customers who I've been cleaning windows for probably 7 or 8 years. And yeah, we've built up a nice rapport. We always have a little chat afterwards. And I'm actually just inside now doing this sort of garden set of windows, the doors on the inside, and just reminding her about my surgery because I've got now my dates have been changed. If you don't know that already, it's for the 24th of April. So she was like, "Oh, you look so healthy and you're so young. Can you remind me why?" I talked about it previously, but not in any real detail. And so we get on the whole topic of doctors and how they personally failed me, and that advice actually given to anyone would have been wrong. And then she was talking about how great her doctors are, and I'm kind of looking at her. She's morbidly obese. She's like housebound. She pretty much sits on this little chair with her feet up because her feet, her ankles, her legs are severely swollen. She's clearly got high blood pressure and all this sort of inflammation in her legs, in her joints. She's got a heart device. She takes so much medication, and she just always looks like she's in pain, honestly. And yeah, we get on to that topic, and I start to, calmly express myself about why I think that the advice that her doctor's giving her is wrong. Um, Again, understanding that this can be tricky, in terms of where we're going with this. I'm in a house, and who am I? I understand what it looks like. I'm just a window cleaner to everyone. Who the hell am I? I'm not professional. I'm not in the position to talk about the science and the medication and all this stuff. But yeah, it was interesting. She quite quickly started to express herself, and she was like, "I violently disagree. I violently disagree." I was just talking to her about the importance of having salt in the diet when she's told not to have salt, and that eggs are healthy and they're not bad, and that red meat, is nutrient dense and non-inflammatory. You want to eat your red meat, and animal fats especially are very, very important for your hormones. They contain all the essential nutrients at the end of the day, and so it's real food. And they don't come with all these extra toxins and inflammatory metabolites. And she kept saying, "I violently disagree. I violently disagree." So I could understand. I'm backing off. I'm like, okay, clearly it was almost a mistake. Even though I didn't feel like it was, I had good intentions. I was calmly expressing myself, and I understand how it looks, and so I'm speaking, being very empathetic of that person who I'm talking to, what it looks like, her position, being that she's in that position with her health, and yeah, it was just a bit strange because now I'm in a house feeling like some kind of strange predator of some kind. I mentioned the word cancer, and she was like, "Don't." Yeah, very uncomfortable, quite awkward, but just goes to show, I suppose. I just wanted to get this off my chest really because it's made me feel a little bit strange. But it just goes to show, when these people are that inured, and they've even lost relatives. I'm assuming that she's lost multiple relatives, perhaps to cancer, and that's why, don't go there. You do not tell me about cancer because I've lost loved ones. I understand. I do. I understand. And at that point, I pretty much had my hand on the door to go, and said, obviously, I may or may not see you after my surgery then. I think I probably lost the customer there. It's weird. It was strange. We started off just as normal. Quite a nice day, honestly. She was in a good mood, I think. I was fine. Um, and I just tried to help, and I tread very carefully. I understand when you're in that position because I've been there, not perhaps to that degree or in that exact same way, but I've been there. I thought that all these colourful fruits and vegetables were really healthy, and that whole grain seed oils. What's wrong with seed oils? Coming from a plant. That plants are healthy. Drugs, yeah, but they're drugs to help me. I'm being helped. I'm on my way to fixing and mending, and he's a professional, and I trust him. He knows what he's talking about. Who are you, sir? I understand what it's like and how that looks, and so I was treading very, very carefully. But it's funny, no matter how I put it, I was trying to just explain. Look outside. Where are the bananas, and where are any fruits right now? In the UK, what can you eat? Good luck. You're gonna have to be very, very selective, and actually you'd probably end up getting sick, because I can't think of anything right now really that's available that's not going to make you sick. At times you'll have some apples, at times for 3 weeks perhaps you'll have some strawberries and things like that. But all of these things are hybridized. All of these things don't even closely resemble their natural wild ancestors. And these bananas that are supposedly so healthy, she was talking to me about how she eats 2 or 3 bananas and they're so healthy. And I was like, that they are mostly sugar. Sugar is a problem. They have some minerals. You've got some potassium, but if you put potassium into a donut, it's not going to make that donut healthy or a superfood. And I violently disagree. So it was very strange, and I was talking about red meat. It's funny because she was saying how healthy I looked, and I only eat red meat, and I told her that I only eat red meat. She's like, "Yeah, but that's you. We're all different." I was like, "Yeah, we're all different, but we are all humans, and we should be eating human food just like any animal eats that specific food for that animal." I violently disagree. Everything it was really strange, and the moment I said about cancer, it was like, don't you dare. Who are you to tell me? And I get it. I understand. I understand if you're in that position that it's offensive, even though I tried my best with every single word that I chose, that I selected. I selected very, very carefully to try and not offend or to upset. But no matter what I did or said, it's like she was offended, because at the end of the day, what I'm doing essentially is indirectly challenging her. I'm challenging her doctors and the professionals. And because she's taken that advice and she's like sort of praising him, he's such a wonderful doctor, he's so great. I even said, like, do you feel like you're getting any better? Just trying to say things that aren't attacks, or that just trying to be very helpful, and engage in more of a healthy discussion. And it's not, I'm not trying to debate an old lady in her house. She's probably, I would say, close to 70, 71, 72 max, I would have said, unless, she's younger than that perhaps, because a lot of people, when they're that sick, they're that inflamed, they may be like 65, 66 and look like 71, 72. But I'm not debating this lady in her own house. I'm not like that. But we just got onto the topic of food and doctors because I'm having this surgery, and she was talking about her doctors and her problems, and I was like, oh, that's most likely this. Have you thought about this? And just again, in a very pleasant manner, and I was careful of my tone, how I worded and structured my sentences, but still, it just goes to show, when you're that inured, you can offend people even with the best intentions in the world, and you can construct the perfect sentence. You think that you're doing a good job, and clearly, I triggered certain emotions in her, and she wasn't happy at all. And I walked away feeling like a bit disgusting, really, because I don't get up in the morning and turn up, to different people's houses, these properties, to upset people. I clean windows and they pay me, and it's a transaction done, and then we have a little chat. Sometimes we don't. Some people work at home and they're busy, but this is a customer I've had many conversations with, and it was just unfortunate. Don't know if it was a bad time, bad day. I don't really know. She seemed fine. She seemed normal. I was fine at first. I mean, I'm fine now. I just thought I would share this. It's quite nice to feel like I'm sort of getting rid of all the energy, because it felt like I was a bad guy or something, when I only tried to help. And like I say, I was treading very carefully and stuff like that. But it didn't feel nice even with her reactions, because I felt like, I'm there, and she's just in her own house sitting on this chair on her own. It just makes you feel sort of predatory. And so, the moment she went, don't, I was like, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm just trying to help, based on things that I've learned, and in my experience, blah, blah, blah. And she wasn't having any of it. So I would say, just be careful, because I thought I was safe, if you like. I'm not thinking about me. I'm just saying I thought I was safe to have this conversation without sort of any negative escalation of feelings or response. But that wasn't the case. So she didn't want to talk about it. But I think, at the end of the day, she was offended because I was challenging her by challenging her doctor, and she's taken the advice. She's taken offence to that because she's going, well, yeah, he's a great doctor. I'm doing this, and I'm asking, are you getting better? Is anything improving? Are you on less medication or more medication? And it was clearly offensive. The truth hurts. I'm in some ways, I'm hoping that she understands that there is some truth to what I was saying, because otherwise the whole thing was pointless. And I think the other reason is probably because she's had other loved ones being failed by the system, just like me, but because it affects her, that she's offended for multiple reasons. It's like perhaps a little bit of ego and pride involved, because when you're taking someone's advice and then you find out it's wrong, you can take it personally because you were the one that was fooled, right? You've been conned, and no one wants to be conned. And then the other one, I think, with certain subjects, perhaps close to home, obviously cancer. I'm very, very confident that she's clearly lost at least one, but most likely multiple relatives to cancer, and she didn't want to hear a window cleaner. And I get that. I understand exactly how that looks. But yeah, so that just wanted to share this really. And I would say, be careful, because you really don't know, even when they seem lovely and you've had all these innocuous little chats before and you've built up this lovely rapport with people you see regularly. You get on a certain topic and they can get very, very offended very, very quickly. And so in some ways, it wasn't, I only had intentions to help. And it probably had the complete opposite effect. And so I feel like a bit of a monster, coming out of there being a bit disgusted. I need to have a wash or something, just because of I can see how I affected her, even though they weren't my intentions. And it might be a bit of a funny thing to compare it with, but I've never understood men that continue, right, when the woman says no. Like, to me, if a woman ever said no like that, I'd be like, oh, I'm disgusting, I need to stop. Like, it's the kind of, I walked out of there feeling a bit like that, but those guys probably don't feel like that. That's why they're doing what they're doing. But yeah, anyway, I hope you're having a better day than I am. I'm all right. I'm about to cook some meat. But I thought I'd just share this because I'm sure many of us, whether we've solved chronic issues or not, we feel better. We've come off medications. We've lost weight. We've solved and reversed different issues, maybe a bit of aging, maybe a bit of type 2 diabetes and hypertension, whatever it is. It's difficult not to share. And when it comes up in conversation, and you know a thing or two about this and why, that you understand some of the science, and you think, well, this can really help and this can be an interesting conversation. You just never know what that person's position is, where they've come from and how that affects them. So probably, I see these people wearing t-shirts like, I do this and ask me why. And I think Kerry's actually one of them. So that's probably a good idea, because they're asking you. And even though it was similar, she was asking me and we got onto this conversation. I mean, either way, I suppose I said something that was going to offend her. Regardless, perhaps some people would ask, thinking like, that's crazy. Yeah, why? Why are you only eating red meat? Maybe they just get offended anyway, because that's also why they're asking, because it's kind of challenging their beliefs, whether they bought it from someone else and that they've been conned, or that they thought that they were right and then they've been told you're wrong. There's a reason why all these YouTube videos, I was wrong, they get all these views, is because people don't like to be wrong. People are happy to see other people being wrong. It's quite interesting, the psychology behind that. But yeah, anyway, I'm ranting. So hope you're all having a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.